In 2008, the world lost trillions of dollars. Savings vanished. Jobs disappeared. Entire countries fell into debt spirals. But here's the strange part. Almost no one went to jail. Not the executives, not the bankers, not the architects of the collapse, just a handful of scapegoats. While the system walked free. So here's the question. How do you cause the largest financial disaster in modern history and face no real punishment? This is the story of the biggest fraud nobody jailed. The promise. For decades, the system sold a simple dream. Buy a house, work hard, build wealth. Banks promised safety. Governments promised oversight. Markets promised efficiency. But beneath that promise, a machine was forming. A machine that turned debt into gold. By the early 2000s, banks weren't just lending money. They were manufacturing risk. Loans were bundled, sliced, repackaged, and sold as something they were not. Like rotten food wrapped in luxury packaging. By 2007, the global financial system wasn't built on money anymore. It was built on belief. How the fraud worked. Here's the trick. Imagine a factory that makes time bombs. Each bomb is dangerous on its own, but the factory bundles thousands together, labels them safe, and sells them to the world. That's what banks did with mortgages. Risky loans became securities. Securities became AAA-rated assets. AAA assets went into pensions, banks, governments. Everyone trusted the label. Why? Because rating agencies were paid by the same banks they were judging. The referee worked for the players, and the players knew it. So risk exploded, but profits exploded faster. The moment of truth. Then the payments stopped. Homes were abandoned. Loans defaulted. And suddenly, no one knew what anything was worth. Banks stopped trusting banks. Credit froze, and the illusion collapsed. Governments stepped in, not to punish, but to rescue. Trillions were printed. Bailouts were approved overnight. Losses were socialized. The message was clear. If you're big enough, failure becomes optional. And accountability? It becomes negotiable. Who paid the price? The public paid. Through inflation, through lost jobs, through a decade of wage stagnation. Meanwhile, banks recovered first. Bonuses returned. Stock markets soared. But trust never came back. People stopped believing the system was fair. Because fairness requires consequences, and consequences never arrived. Instead, a dangerous precedent was set. Risk is rewarded, failure is forgiven, and success is privatized. The fraud wasn't just financial, it was moral. The unsettling truth. The biggest fraud wasn't a crime hidden in shadows, it happened in plain sight, signed, approved, normalized. Not by criminals in masks, but by institutions in suits. And here's the truth most people miss. The system didn't break. It worked exactly as designed. So, here's the real question. If the biggest fraud in history led to no real punishment, is justice broken? Or was it never meant for everyone? Tell me what you think.